today for Vinyasa Yoga. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If you're new to this class or new to yoga, no worries. This class is beginner friendly in the sense that I will not just call out a pose and expect you to know where we're going. So I do talk about alignment, especially our first time through the pose. We do repeat poses a lot, so you'll get the hang of it, and I can give a little less guidance as we go. However, if you are familiar with the names of poses, you're more than welcome to get into that pose rather than waiting for me to walk you into it. We do start with the slow warm-up. We build heat in the body, target the areas of the body we're going to be using later in the class. And then we pick up the pace a bit, move a bit more around on the mat. I think the most important part of the practice is that we end on our back in a final rest period where we remain still for 2 to 3 minutes with our eyes closed. Not only does it allow our body to absorb the benefits of the class, but it gives us a time of reflection, a time to be still in our bodies when we're not trying to go to sleep at night, which is a rare occurrence. So I think that's the most important part of the practice. And it's also my favorite part. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body, take breaks if you need, and always check with your doctor before you start a new exercise plan. So today we're going to get started in a seated position. So take any comfortable seated position, so legs can be crossed, legs can be just loosely out. However it's comfortable for you to sit with your spine long, and I'll have you sit at the top of your mat facing forward. We're going to start with just opening up the chest today. We're going to take our hands behind our back, palms facing away from the body, stacked on top of one another. Extend out through the crown of your head, relax your shoulders down your back, and draw the elbows towards the back of the mat just to open the front of the chest just a bit. Head can tilt up towards the ceiling. Take a few deep breaths here into the chest. Draw the belly towards the spine. It's a little bit of support. Now draw the elbows towards the front of the mat and round the spine, dropping chin to chest, holding here, deep in the breath. Again, as you inhale, drawing the elbows to the back of the mat, lifting the chest, lifting the gaze, and breathing here. As you exhale, we'll find the roundness in the spine, elbows point towards the front, chin drops to chest. One more time, inhaling to find the lift. Exhaling to round. Then place your arms at your sides and find a neutral spine. Bring your right arm up to the ceiling and reach through the tips of the fingers and give me a side bend. Over to the left. We're actively reaching out through our fingertips, our core is engaged. Right ribs reaching up towards the ceiling. And we're gonna switch sides. So as one hand comes down, the opposite comes up. Reach through the fingertips, give me a side stretch. And take a few breaths here. As you exhale, bring the hand down to the floor. And we'll spinal twist towards the right, placing your right hand directly behind you, left hand directly in front. And you're gonna gaze towards the back of the mat. We'll slowly unwind and spinal twist to the opposite side, so left hand directly behind you. Spine stays long. So as the name suggests, this pose is great for the spine, but it's also great for your digestive system as well. Slowly unwind and return to center. Now bring the bottoms of the feet together into butterfly stretch, pressing firmly to pinky edges of the feet, finding length through the spine once again. Knees relax down towards the floor. So if you need a little less sensation here, I suggest you slide the heels away from your body. But if you want more sensation in the hips, draw those heels in as close as you can. Just keep the spine long and the breath nice and steady. Now extend both legs straight out in front of you and swing them behind you, coming into a tabletop position on the hands and the knees, wrists stacked under shoulders, and knees stacked underneath the hips. Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through your toes, heel in line with hip, and lift up to the tips of your fingers. Give me a crunch, so drawing right knee in towards the chest, rounding the spine, pulling the belly in, and stepping or placing your foot into lunge. Ankle is right below the knee. Now with left toes, we're going to tuck them onto the mat. Lift that knee in the air and just scoot it back an inch or two, just a few inches. As you draw the breath in through your nose, slowly lift both arms overhead. We're going to pause and breathe here. Find length through both sides of the body. Resist the urge to back bend. Then we'll place the fingertips down to the mat. For half split, we're going to send our hips to the back of the mat, walk our fingertips back, and start to flex the forward foot. The leg does not have to straighten completely. Spine should stay long, and chest stays forward. Then meet me back in a lunge, so right knee is stacked over the ankle. We're going to do this 2 more times using our breath, no hold. So breathe in through the nose, lifting both arms overhead. Tighten your core for stability. As we exhale, we're going to bring the hands down to the mat and find our half split, so hips and back, foot flexes. As we inhale, we'll send forward into lunge, bringing arms up overhead. As we exhale, fingertips come down to the floor into half split, leg straightens, and we're back in lunge. Lift the right arm up to the ceiling into a twist, gaze up to ceiling, and we'll hold here. On your exhale, fingertips come down to the floor. Extend your right leg behind you, point through the toes, and return to tabletop. So restack knees underneath the hips. This time, left leg extends, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, pull the belly in, and step and place the foot into lunge. So right toes tuck onto the mat this time. Scoot the knee back just an inch or two. Top of foot returns to mat. Breathe in through the nose, lifting both arms overhead. We're going to hold the first one. Don't hold the breath. Try to tuck the ribs in slightly so lower ribs aren't poking out. Return fingertips to floor, and we'll find half split, sending the hips back, flexing the forward foot. You might notice one side is a little easier or a little less tight. So just be mindful of that. And meet me back in lunge, knee stacks over the ankle. Tying in with the breath, inhaling through the nose, lifting both arms overhead. As we exhale out through the mouth, hands to mat, and find half split. Again, inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, hands down. Find half split. And return to lunge. Extend the left leg long behind you, point through those toes, and meet me back in a tabletop position. Round the spine into cat, tucking chin into chest, drawing belly up. Then lift and arch the spine into cow, letting belly hang, head up to ceiling. A few more times. Try to exhale as you find cat and round the spine. Draw the breath in as you lift and arch. Again, exhale to round. Inhale to lift. And settle into neutral tabletop, hands flat to mat. Lower to puppy pose, so elbows come down to the mat, stacked under shoulders, palms face down, and head hangs heavy. This is option 1 for your rest pose for our class today. Option 2 is to settle all the way into child's pose, so hips come all the way down to the heels, toes touch but knees are separate, and forehead rests on the mat. So if you're new to this class or this practice, try both out, see what works better for you, and you're going to pick one to choose as your rest period for today. Take a few breaths here as we finish our warm-up. Appreciate this moment of stillness. And on your next inhale, you'll meet me back in tabletop. Spread the fingers nice and wide and tuck your toes onto mat. So if you're unfamiliar with the down dog, we're going to break it down into parts. But if you are familiar, you're more than welcome to lift into your first down dog now. So if you're taking it in parts with me, start pressing firmly into the pointer finger and the thumb. Then lift the knees off the mat and draw belly in. Keeping the knees bent, we're going to send the hips up towards the ceiling as we press our bellies back towards our thighs and gaze in between our feet. So we're still pressing firmly in pointer finger and thumb. Hips are reaching up towards the ceiling. Slight outer rotation of the upper arms. Take a deep breath or two. To make our way to standing, we're going to start to shift our weight forward, then step or place the right foot into lunge. Lifting up to the tips of the fingers and sending our chest forward. Step up to half lift, so feet step together, hands to shins, back is flat. Lower to forward fold, bend the knees, dropping belly down to the thighs, arms and crown of the head reach for the floor. Low bellies drawing in, hips stay reaching towards the ceiling. One vertebrae at a time, we'll start to round the spine up into a standing position. One vertebrae at a time. You want to feel all those muscles working as we make our way up to standing. Once you're all the way up, give me a deep breath in through your nose, lifting both arms overhead, gazing up to ceiling. And exhale into forward fold, bringing hands together, hinging from the hips. Belly meets the thighs, arms and head hang. So some of us might need to bend our knees a little more than others to make contact belly to thigh. So just adjust yourself accordingly. Rise to half lift, flatten your back, and step into a plank position. Bend the knees so you can plant the hands and step back into plank. Before lowering the knees to tabletop, tops of feet to mat. Lean forward into Chaturanga, so shoulders past the wrist. Then we bend the elbows, keeping them close to the body as we bring our chest down to the mat first and then lower down the hips. So hands are under shoulders, elbows up to ceiling. We'll lift the chest off the mat using the strength of our core. Don't press into the hands, and shoulder blades reach to touch. Press into the mat now to find your rest position, whether that's puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's pose, hips all the way down to heels. Take a breath or two here. And slowly meet me back in tabletop, preparing for down dog. So toes tuck onto the mat, spread those fingers wide. Knees lift off the mat, and then belly comes up to thighs as we send hips up to ceiling. Deep breath or two here. Start to look forward, shift the weight forward, step or place left foot into lunge, lifting up to the tips of the fingers, looking forward. Step up to half lift, feet together, hands to shins, back is flat. Lower to folds, belly to thighs, head to floor. And slowly rise up to standing. So that was one sun salutation. We're going to do another. Deep breath in through the nose, lifting both arms overhead. And exhale to your forward fold, hands together, hinging at the hips, belly to thighs. Rise half lift, flatten your back, and step into a plank position. And meet me in tabletop, knees to mat. Lean forward for Chaturanga, bend the elbows, keep them close to your body. Nice low control all the way to the floor. We'll lift the chest to baby cobra. Strengthen that core in the low back. Then press to your rest position, either puppy pose or child's. And again, take a breath or two here. Nice, deep, full breaths. As you inhale, meet me in a tabletop position. As you exhale, lift the hips to downward facing dog. Belly reaches to thighs. So if the knees are bent and you want to start adding the legs into the equation, try straightening one leg at a time, pressing the heel down towards the floor. And then once you hold for a moment or two there, you're going to switch and bend the opposite knee. And you're more than welcome to play here anytime in down dog, bending one knee and then the other. Maybe shifting the weight side to side, or keeping both knees bent, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Step your right foot into a lunge position, lifting up to tips of fingers. Step up to half lift, flat in the back. Lower to fold, belly meets the thighs, and we'll slowly rise to standing. One last time through, deep breath in, arms up. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale as you step back into plank and lower to tabletop. Inhale in your tabletop position. Exhale, Chaturanga, leaning forward, elbows close to body. As you inhale, find baby cobra, lifting the chest. Exhale to your rest position. We're gonna move right on out of the rest position. So inhale to tabletop and exhale to downward facing dog. And take a few deep breaths here. Again, encouraging you to find some movement if you're comfortable doing so. Look forward and step your left foot into lunge. Step up to half lift as you breathe in, back is flat. Exhale back to fold. Inhale to slowly rise to standing. Bring both arms back up overhead and pause for a beat here. Gaze is up to the ceiling. This time we're gonna swan dive to forward fold. So arms come out wide at our sides, reaching behind us as we bring belly down to thighs and let the arms hang. Rise to half lift, flat in the back. Step back into plank. Lower the knees to tabletop. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. And extend your right leg behind you, pointing through toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, step or place the foot into lunge. Left toes tuck onto the mat, lift that knee into the air and lift up to just pointer and middle finger, chest sends forward once again. Bring hand to your thighs and extend both arms overhead into high lunge. Right knee stacked over the ankle and we're on the ball of the left foot. Open to 5-pointed star facing the left side of your mat, lowering arms to shoulder height and turning both feet forward. Turn the right foot forward to face the front of the mat and bend the knee into warrior two, so stacking it right over the ankle once again, gazing out towards the right middle finger. So chest and hips are facing the long edge of the mat, spine is long. Lower to side angle, so right elbow comes down to the forward thigh, free arm frames the ear. We're gonna twist and lift our chest up towards the ceiling and take a few breaths here, stretching actively out through left fingertips. Meet me back in warrior two, so arms are at shoulder height, and find reverse warrior. So right arm comes up to the ceiling, we straighten the forward leg, give that leg a break, take a breath or two here. Meet me back in warrior two. Same thing, no hold. Right into side angle, so elbow comes down, free arm frames the ear. Inhale as we rise back to standing. Exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior, right arm up, straighten the forward leg. Exhale, back to warrior two, knee bends. Windmill arms down into lunge, left heel lifts off the mat. Step back into your plank position. Lower knees to tabletop. Lean forward into Chaturanga, lowering all the way down to the mat. Inhaling to lift the chest, baby cobra. And exhaling to your chosen rest position, taking a few rounds of breath where you're at. Inhale to tabletop. And exhale into downward facing dog, hips up to the ceiling. So optional three-legged dog here to take us into lunge. Start by lifting the right leg up towards the ceiling and pointing through the toes. Shift the weight forward, give me a crunch, drawing the knee into the chest, rounding and lifting out of the shoulders, then placing the foot into lunge. You might need to manually place it there. And lifting back up to tips of fingers. If that didn't work out for you or you're not a fan, you can skip it the next time through. Draw the breath in as you rise to half lift, flattening your back. Lowering to folds, belly meets the thighs. And try to draw the inhale out as you rise to standing, nice and slow. And exhaling at the top. Again, deep breath in to lift both arms overhead. As we exhale, we'll swan dive into forward fold, arms out nice and wide. Bring belly back to thighs. Rise to half lift and step back into plank. Then lower the knees to tabletop. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. This time we'll extend left leg behind us, pointing through the toes. Crunching knee to chest, then stepping or placing the foot into lunge. Right toes tuck onto the mat, lifting that knee into the air. Bringing our hands to our forward thigh, then extending both arms overhead into high lunge. Take a few deep breaths into your chest. Then open to 5-pointed star, facing the right side of the mat this time. Arms at shoulder height and feet are forward. Left foot turns to the front of the mat, bend the knee into warrior two, stack it right over the ankle, and gaze out over left hand. Lower to side angle, so elbow comes down to thigh and right arm frames the ear. Pinky edge of the right foot is pressing firmly into the mat. Rise back to warrior two, arms at shoulder height. And lift to reverse warrior, left arm up and forward, leg straightens. Nice side stretch here. Meet me back in warrior two, knee bends right over the ankle. Lower down to side angle, lifting and twisting the chest. Rise back to warrior two. Inhaling to reverse warrior, straightening the forward leg. Then exhaling back to warrior two, last time. Windmill the arms down into lunge, right heel lifts off the mat. Step back into plank and lower knees to tabletop. Find Chaturanga, lower all the way down to the floor. Inhale to baby cobra and exhale to your rest position. Quick moment of stillness here, deepen your breath. Inhale as you rise to tabletop and exhale to downward facing dog, hips up to the ceiling. Three-leg dog, lifting left leg up to the ceiling and moving into lunge, drawing knee to chest, stepping or placing the foot through. Step up to half lift as you inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Then try to draw the inhale out as you slowly rise to standing. We're going to move into a little bit of balance now. We're going to start with our left leg as a standing leg. So lift those toes up off the mat, spread them wide and plant them back down. Tiny micro bends on our standing leg, so don't block out the joint. We want to rely on our muscle to hold us up, not on our joint. Then we'll slowly draw our right knee in towards our chest, so knee will be about in line with the hip. We'll interlace our fingers and take a hold. If this is difficult for you, you can work here, lowering the toes down to the mat and lifting them up to the hands back and forth through the remainder of the exercise. But if you've got a nice solid hold, find length out through the crown of your head, relax shoulders down your back and hold here. Tighten the glute of the standing leg as well. If you'd like to take it a step further, you can take this basket we made with our hands and bring it to the ball of your foot. Still keep the chest lifting and we're holding here. We're not going to take it any further today. Strengthening that standing leg. If your hand is on your foot, bring it back to the knee. Then everyone lower your right foot back down to the floor. We'll switch sides. All the weight is in the right foot. Lift those toes up, spread them wide, plant firmly on the floor. Tiny micro bend in the right knee. Left knee is going to draw into the chest, interlace the fingers, take hold. You're going to hold here, or you're working on lowering and lifting. If you'd like to take it further, you're going to take the basket of your hands to the ball of the foot. Keep the chest lifted. If hands on the foot, bring it back to the knee. Step your foot down to the mat. Bend those knees. Give the standing legs a break. If you're not at the top of your mat still, go ahead and get there now for me with your feet about hips width distance apart. Stand nice and tall. Give me one deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms up overhead. Gaze up to ceiling. Slow exhale out the mouth as we lower arms down by our sides. So we're starting to slow down our movement. Let's do that 2 more times. Deep breath in, arms come up overhead, gaze is up. Exhale, hands come down to our sides. Last time, deep breath in. As you exhale this time, we'll swan dive down into forward fold, belly comes to thighs. And we're going to take a few breaths here. Slowly rise to half lift, flatten your back, draw shoulders away from ears, and step into your plank position. We're going to hold this plank for about 10 seconds. Body is active, core, legs, arms, shoulders, everything. Don't hold the breath. And if you can, nice and slowly lower yourself down to your belly, but however you get there is fine with me. Turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Lower your arms along the sides of your body, palms face up to sky. Big toes touch and heels fall away from one another. Wiggle the shoulders away from your ears. And just take a short moment of rest here. Maybe the eyes gently close. If you'd like a deeper stretch for your neck, you're going to turn your head so you're resting more on your ear than you are your cheek. And gently turn your head to the opposite side, starting on your cheek first. Moving to the ear if you'd like to deepen the stretch. Then bring your chin to the mat and arms underneath the chin, so like a pillow. Hands can be stacked and chin can rest on the hands, or maybe on the arms, whatever's comfortable for you. With the right leg, keeping it tracking along the floor, we're going to bend the knee, drawing the leg up closer towards our face, into frog pose. So the more you lift the knee or raise the knee, the more opening you're going to feel in the hip. So it's up to you how much or how little sensation you would like to create. Find something that's comfortable for you, and we'll take a few moments here. Chin can stay on the arms or head can turn one side or the other. Some of our fight or flight responses, muscles, are in our hips. And so when we're stressed out, those muscles in our hip areas, along with others, tend to get really tight. And so it's always great to spend a little time loosening up those muscles, relieving that stress that our body's holding on to. Go ahead and straighten the right leg, and we'll do the same on the opposite side. So create however much sensation is comfortable for you. If your head was turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the opposite side. And take a few breaths here. Slowly start to straighten the leg. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, and for the last time, press yourself into your chosen rest position and take a few rounds of breath there. Slowly make your way into a seated position with your legs extended down the front or the length of your mat. Lift both arms overhead, drop chin to chest, then round the spine into rounded back stretch, lowering hands to the knees, thumbs on the inside and elbows pointing out to long edges of the mat. Melt shoulders away from the ears and take nice, deep, full breaths. As we give some time for the muscles on the back side of the neck and the spine to release. As you inhale, slowly lift the spine upright, placing the hands on either side of your hips into staff pose, finding length out through the crown of your head, then relaxing back to neutral. Bend your right knee, placing your foot on the mat. With your left arm, you're going to hold on to that bent knee, and we'll spinal twist towards the back of the mat, placing our free hand directly behind us. Left foot is flexed. Standing tall, out through the top of the head. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out, the mouth will unwind and return forward, straightening the bent knee. Bend the left knee now, holding on with the right arm as we open the spinal twist and look out over left shoulder, keeping spine long towards the ceiling. And breathing here. Take a deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale out through the mouth, unwind and return to center. If you're not already sitting in the center of your mat, make your way there now. Bend both knees, planting feet to floor. Take a hold of the back of your thighs and gently lower yourself down until you're flat on your back. Just take a moment of stillness here, and maybe hands can be on belly, or one hand over the heart and one hand on the belly. Straighten your legs onto the mat. Draw right knee into your chest for wind relieving pose. So interlace the fingers, hold below the knee, and draw thigh close to body, flexing both feet. If you feel any discomfort on the knee, you can hold on to the back of the thigh rather than the front of the knee. keeping the low back pressed down towards the floor, so don't let it lift up. Gently release your hold, returning leg to mat, and draw the left knee into the chest. Same thing, you're holding below the knee or on the back of the thigh and flexing the feet. So we relieve tension in the low back. Straighten the leg onto the mat and draw both knees into your chest, feet side by side, holding below the knees or on the back of the thighs. And maybe find a gentle rock side to side. Release the hold and return your feet to the mat. Lower your arms down by your sides, palms face down. If you can't graze the back of your heel with your fingertips, walk the feet in closer to the body. Then bend the elbows, fingertips facing up to the ceiling. Pressing into the feet as well as the upper arms, we'll lift into bridge pose. Hips come up towards the ceiling, knees stay stacked over the ankles, chin lifts from the chest. Holding here, don't let the feet and the legs bear all the weight. You're pressing into the upper arms as well, opening the front of the chest. Then slowly lowering hips down to the mat. And again, drawing both knees into the chest, feet side by side. Holding here. Slightly tuck your chin in towards your chest to help lengthen on the back side of the neck. If your hands are not yet on the back of your thighs, go ahead and place them there now. Then extend both legs up to the ceiling into our inversion. So heels are roughly stacked over the hips. We're gonna hold for about 45 seconds here. At any time during this pose, if you need a little ease, just draw both knees into the chest, but keep the heels elevated. Still getting the benefits of the inversion, improving our circulation, inducing relaxation, calming down the body. It sounds like some maintenance men have entered my building, so I apologize if you do hear the scuffling around. Draw the knees back in towards the chest, lower heels down towards the body. And place your arms out on the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Lower the knees to the right side into reclined spinal twist. And gently turn your head towards the left. This is our last pose before our final resting pose, so it's a great time to close the eyes. I always suggest closing the eyes around this time. If you need any ease in this pose, just lower the knees away from the hands. And get a bit of a gentler twist that way. Slowly draw the knees back to center. Let them fall to the opposite side and head turns to the right. Slowly draw your knees back to the center of the chest, pulling them close to the body for one final time. Slowly lift your head to meet your knees. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold the breath at the top. As you exhale out through the mouth, release the hold you have on your body so you can lay flat on your mat, separating your legs and arms nice and wide. Take up as much space as you can. Let the toes fall away from one another. Palms are faced up and eyes are closed. Relax the muscles around your brow and your eyes. Drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And bring your focus to your breath, following every rise and fall of your chest. Imagining that every time you exhale, stress and doubts and hesitations leave the body with the breath. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath, following every rhythmic rise and fall of your chest. Now start to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Bring movement back to your body. Then gently roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side, maybe using your arm to support your head like a pillow. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly and gently press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. As always, to finish class, we take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. We're gonna add movement to our breath today. So as we exhale, we'll round the spine, dropping chin to chest. Oh, excuse me. As we inhale, we'll lift and arch the spine, tilting our head up to the ceiling. Let's hope I can get through this without hiccuping. So we'll all start on an exhale, rounding the spine, dropping chin to chest. Start to inhale, filling the body with breath, lifting and arching, tilting head up. Exhaling out through the mouth, rounding the spine, chin to chest for 1. Breathe in through the nose, lifting and arching the body as we fill the body with breath. Then exhale smoothly out the mouth as we round the spine, chin to chest for 2. Last time, deep breath, fullest breath yet as we find the arch. Fill the breath up, fill the breath. Then exhale, round the spine, nice and slow, breathing out, dropping chin to chest. take a second to thank yourself for taking time for this practice. And I'd like to thank you for joining me today. There is a light within me that honors the light that exists within you. So thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you did, there's a new version of this class that is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, I teach a core yoga class, structured much the same. However, I put in some core work and core targeting exercises. That class is aired every Wednesday at 8 a.m. I want to thank you guys for being great sports. I know there was lots of background noise in my video today. The maintenance crew is in my building, so I do apologize, but I hope you'll forgive me and return next week. I hope to see you next time.